happy Thursday. Oh my goodness. Guys, May 15th. May 15th. Gosh, what does that mean? If you have a junior in high school, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 6 months. Actually, a little less than 6 months if you're applying early decision, right? Early action. Yeah, I know. It's craziness. All right, so tell me where you are tuning in from and what grade level you represent. If you have a class of 2026, I just said you have 6 months before you're applying to college. If you have a class of 27, you have 18 months. So, and if you have a child that's younger than that, then yay for you. You have time on your hands to get it right, right? So that's what we say. All right, so let me know where you're tuning in from and what your grade level is so I can tailor this to you all. So excited. All right. I know it's the end of AP, so it's been like a little bit of a slow week. Although we had some people, we had about 14 people last night, actually. So if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to our world. Welcome to my family. And I go live twice a week. On Wednesdays, I go live at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and on Thursdays, I go live. At 4 p.m. I'm just realizing that my camera is not on. There we go. Oh, I look younger. Okay, awesome. All right, fantastic. Okay, well, hello, everyone. Welcome. And again, let me know where you're tuning in from and we'll get started. Okay. I like to give some quality information and then also leave time for some questions. So just know that. Know that we're going to do that. All right, shall we get started? All right, I'm going to share my screen so we can get started, and that way we can answer questions, leave time. Hi, Vanessa. Austin, were you on last night? Oh, my goodness. You might have been on, because I said to someone, I need to come to Austin. I've not been. There we go. Okay, so we're going to get started, and then you have plenty of time to ask questions. So here we go. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to How Admission Officers Decide Who to Admit or Reject. I am your host, Dr. Cynthia Coulon. Welcome, and thank you for spending your time with me, and thank you for putting your child's future first. Right? You got to get with the program and really understand this process. Again, if you're class of 2026, you have 6 months or less before you hit submit to the first application. If you are a sophomore or have a sophomore, you're 18 months. So today, I'm going to start by saying college admissions is not fair. I know we all want it to be, but it's just never going to be fair. So I'll walk you through sort of why I come to that conclusion, which is also the title of my TED Talk. So if you watched the TEDx talk on YouTube, you've seen me talk about this. What you might know already is that over the last several years, like 10, maybe even 15 years or more, college applications have been on the rise, which means the admission rate has been on the decline, right? Makes sense. The more applications there are, the more competitive and more competitive the college gets. Why? Because there's the same number of spots in the freshman class that there were 10 years ago that there are today. I mean, maybe it's changed a little bit, but not to the degree of the number of applications. So that's why that happens. What you may not know is why this phenomenon has happened. And what I mean by that is that here's a little history lesson. If you go back to the mid to late 80s, U.S. News and World Report came up with the college list, best colleges in the country, right? And as Americans, we love a good list. We like a good, top 10 Netflix list. We want to know the best taco places. We want to know what the best ice cream is. We like a good list. And so Americans really flock to that, and that stuck. Well, if you're a college, then the race was on to market and sell your product, which is the college, so that you could get to the top of that list. And then let's face it, once you're in the top of that list, meaning the top 300, the top 100, you want to stay on that list. So that's why it became more of a business or an industry than we like to talk about. So before I dive deeper, I want to share a little bit of my story, just so you're like, who is this person? Why am I listening to her? Yes, I'm Dr. Cynthia Colon, but I was little Cindy, or as my mom likes to call me, Ladybug. That's my mom there on the left, well, on my left anyway. And in the middle there is this Santa Claus looking man, Mr. Raul Vargas. And he's the one who really changed the trajectory of my life. When I was a sophomore, my mom met Mr. Vargas at a Rotary luncheon or something like that. And she told him my dream of wanting to go to USC, the University of Southern California. And he worked there in the alumni programs for the Mexican American alumni program. So he said, just call me when you're ready and I'll help you. Well, she took that to heart. And when I became paralyzed in my senior years, didn't know what to do, I thought, oh, I'll just stay in community college or the local state school. My mom said, nope, absolutely not my daughter. And she drove me north on the 110 freeway to meet up with Mr. Raul Vargas. And the rest is history. So much like you, my mom had the courage to ask for help. And much like you, she took me to a place where I could get information. So that's why you're here tonight. So bravo to you. And then that's 4 years later, I was admitted to my dream college and was graduating. That's my mom and my dad at graduation. After graduation, I actually was encouraged by mentors at USC to go to graduate school, which I'd never dreamed of or thought of. I certainly never even thought of myself as sort of like the smart girl in the room. And so I went on and I applied to college and I was admitted to Columbia University. I was waitlisted at Harvard. You know, you can't win them all. And I graduated from Columbia University and I did my internship at Barnard College, which is the sister school to Columbia. Barnard is still all women's. Columbia went co-ed in 1984. So from there, I did a number of things, and I'll talk to you about my time after Columbia. I worked at Vassar College, and after that, I worked at Marymount, which I'll talk about in a second. But since then, it's probably important for you to know that I've written a couple of books, English and the Spanish version. I've been on a number of talk shows, etc. So yes, I've been in this business for well over 25 years. Yes, I know I look young. But there I am. I did the TED Talk in 2023. So you can find it on YouTube. Here's something I want to share with you. When I started my podcast in 2018, I interviewed Gary Clark, who's now the vice president of enrollment at UCLA. And he said this, so tattoo this to your brain. He said, think less of what you think we want to hear and more about what you need to say. I thought that was beautiful and perfect because it goes right along with our philosophy. And when I talk about the essays today, I'm going to bring that back for you so you understand what that really means and what it really looks like for our students. Okay. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to give you 3 behind the scenes truths, the 4 questions that you need to know. You'll get some strategic to-dos, and you'll get to see how we get the results that we get for our students. So you're going to walk away with, ready? You're going to walk away with understanding the one document that you need a copy of, like yesterday. You're going to walk away with knowing which teachers to ask and why. You're going to know the difference between a passion project and what we call an impact project. And you'll need to understand why you need so many essays, Dr. Colon. Yes. Okay. So you're going to walk away with those things. I promise. Okay. So who's this for? So I find that the parents that we tend to attract come to this process, college admission process, in one of 3 ways. Either you're the holy smokes parent, the now what parent, or the, what does that say? The first rodeo parent. I can't see anything without my glasses. So the holy smokes parent is just like Gen X. That's me. My Gen X friends are like, why, how did it get so competitive? It wasn't like this when I was, applying to college. The now what parent is the parent who's like, we've done everything right. We've planned accordingly. My kid has done, all the right, gotten the right grades, has the right curriculum. And like, now what do we do? How do I get them to the finish line? And the first rodeo means just that. Like I'm a daughter of an immigrant mother. She didn't go to college. Neither of my parents went to college. So not only was I the first person applying to college in my family, I was also the firstborn, right? So many of you, the first rodeo is like, this is just your firstborn, like your firstborn child, the first time you're going through this process. And so that's the first rodeo. So go ahead, you can type into the chat which one you are so that I know, but I'm guessing you're one of these 3. So let's get back to schedule here. Should admissions be fair? And It should be. But the definition is impartial and just without favoritism or discrimination. Let me just share with you what I learned about the fairness of college admissions. This is Vassar College. This is where I worked after I graduated from Columbia University Teachers College at Columbia. And this was my first real job, right? But I worked in the admission office, and here's what I learned about the differences between private and public schools. And I'm going to just share with you, it's not just any private, like the privates. Okay. So here's the first truth. There are tiers of high schools. Okay. So if you are watching right now and your child attends a private independent school, you know it. If you're asking yourself, do I attend a private independent school? You probably don't. So there are only 1,300 private independent schools in the country. These are the schools where the president's children go, right? Sidwell Friends, Andover, Harvard Westlake here in California. Punahou is where Barack Obama went to school in Hawaii. It's a top high school. So again, you can sort of Google it, but private independent schools typically have a tuition price point. Nowadays, it's north of $40,000 a year. And for boarding school, it's certainly like usually north of $70,000 a year. Okay. So if you're going to one of those schools, you are aware. And typically you have plenty of guidance and expert advice to guide you along the way. But do some of those students and families hire a private consultant? You better believe it, probably because they know more than the average person. So that's why they're doing that. The other tiers of schools is what I learned that when I was on the road, so I'll go to my next slide. When I had to choose which high schools I was going to visit when I was traveling to visit high schools, I had the territory of California, Florida, half of Texas, and several other states. But I was only going to spend 5 days in Southern California and only going to spend a total of 5 days in Northern California. So guess which schools I tended to visit? You better believe it. It tended to be tier 1 and tier 2. Very few charter and public schools, right? So just keep that in mind. That there are relationships that are built with high schools and colleges just purely based on where they're getting the most applicants, right? So just think through that. And again, I'm telling you, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you like it is, right? The final behind the scenes truth that I want to share is that not all high schools are created equal. The private independent schools and some private schools, tier 1 and tier 2 high schools, are going to see a rate of 95% or higher of their student body are going on to 4-year colleges. Okay. So if I ask you what percent of the high school that your child attends, what percent of them go on to college? Many people might know or have an idea, like, oh, about half or more than half. And I'll say, how many of them are actually going on to 4-year colleges? That number could be different. So just keep in mind that it's about 95% or higher at tier 1 schools. And for public and charter schools, it's typically under 50%. When I see a school that has higher than, like I saw another one the other day, that was about 65%. I was like, okay, that's good. So I know. Sad, but true. So if you're here, you've probably been wondering, like, what am I doing everything right? What if I get this wrong? Will this be my fault? Like, you don't want things to fall on your head or on your shoulders. And so that's why you're here today. So again, bravo to you. All right. So I'm going to go back to what I said. Like everything I'm telling you today is not just based like my guesses or sort of theoretical. This is all based in actual knowledge, whether it's knowledge from when I worked at Vassar College in the admission office, reading actual applications and traveling the country to recruit. Also, since then, I've worked with over 10,000 students delivering our products and our formulas and all things, working one-on-one with them and working in groups. Okay. So it's all based in what I know to be true. Okay. So after working at Vassar and taking those insider secrets, I went over to Marymount High School. It's a private elite girls' school here in Los Angeles, where Kim Kardashian went to school, Mariska Hargitay, Tatiana Ali, and Giada DeSantis. I say that not to impress you, but to impress upon you the amount of wealth and resource that's available at a school like Marymount. So right away, I was charged with get these girls into top 100 colleges. And if at all possible, get them into top 25 colleges. So with the strategies I used right away, students within 6 months were admitted to Duke, to Brown, to Stanford, and the list continued to go on and the success continued to go on. We were so successful that people started calling me, these moms, perhaps of the daughters at Marymount had also sons. And they said, would you work with my son? Things like that. So we were doing something really right at Marymount, and it caused a little like fervor of like, what else can you do for our other students, our other kids? So again, I say all this just to tell you that it's actually based in real results that we have received from our students over the many, many years. So I'll start with these two students. Both of these girls are graduating this year from Harvard and from Cornell. On my right, we have Emily, and Emily was the mom was a now what parent. They had done everything right, and they came to me sort of late into, or I say late, but into their senior year, and so the mom said, I think you were right, and we did not get the help that we needed with the essays. Will you look at her essay that she's been drafting for hours and hours? I did. I gave her my honest feedback, and we went to work. So several weeks later, she was admitted to early action to Harvard. So she's graduating now. Yay. On the other hand, Juliana actually is the daughter of my roommate from Columbia, and Becky called in her sophomore year, and she said, we just went to visit high schools. We went to visit colleges. Jules was a sophomore, and Becky said, I don't know how to help her. That's her dream school. She fell in love, and I need your help. So we started applying different things that I do. We call it the Ivy Success Formula. And she followed the formula and the plan, took essay camp, and bada bing, bada boom, she was admitted. So here we go. The 4 questions that admission officers will ask, and why this matters to you. We're going to start with question number 1. How do you compare to your peers? Now, what you may know is that students who are applying to top 100 colleges, top 50, or Ivy level colleges, which is typically those that we attract for our programs. Not always, but typically that's who we're attracting. You know that you need top grades, right? You need more A's than B's on your transcript, and you need a top curriculum, meaning whatever the honors, AP, or IB courses that are offered at your high school, you need to have the rigorous curriculum, right? And you also tend to know that you need high test scores if you're choosing to take them. What you may not know is that you're going to be compared among your peers, number 1, and number 2, the college is going to recalculate your GPA on their, oh, hang on. Sorry, felt that coming. They're going to compare you to your peers and recalculate your GPA. The GPA is going to be recalculated using the sophomore and junior year. At Vassar, we used a 12-point scale, 12 being A+, and so on. So we would do that. We would recalculate the GPA, and we would use the 5 academic food groups: English, math, science, social science, and modern language. Okay? What you may not know is, or may not really understand, is that there's a document called the school profile. And on the school profile, which I'll tell you how you need to find it, that's the one document you need, because on the school profile, I'm going to find the demographic information, the honors and APs that are offered. I'll find a GPA distribution. I'll find the grading scale and the grading system at your school. And the really good ones are going to tell me where students from your high school have been admitted to college over the last 2, 3, maybe as many as 5 years. Okay, that gives me so many clues as to how to understand the context of your application. So if you do not know what I'm talking about, you're not alone. Most families do not. But if you don't have a copy, you're going to, not right now, write this down. You're going to Google the name of your high school plus the words school profile. So you're going to type in Palo Alto High School school profile, and it should pop up. Okay, it should come up as a PDF document. Search around. If you cannot find it, you can look on the website under the college counseling or the counseling services. You might find it there. And if you cannot find it, still call the office and get a copy pronto. Okay, so here are your practical must-dos. I like to give you information, but I also tell you what to do with that information. So you want to maximize the opportunities for the rigorous curriculum that you can, and maximize that at your school. You want to understand the school profile for sure. Get it like as soon as we're done. And go and build a relationship with your counselor. If you have a copy of my book, I think it's it's the very first tale or tip number 1 or 2. It talks about taking a basket of cookies or apples or do whatever you have to do, but build a relationship with the college counselor or your school counselor. Okay. Here's Ryan. Ryan, I'm going to tell you right now, attended a tier one school, a private independent school in Texas. But still, his mom enrolled him in our programs as a sophomore. And she just wanted him to hear how this works. And so really understand the process even at a young age. It served him really well because later he was admitted to Emory, and which is his first choice. And his mom said that he did far better. He fared far better in the process than his peers. So there you have it. Very briefly, here was our youngest and our eldest camper in our program several years ago when we got started doing our online courses, which we hadn't done before. We'd only done essay camp, but our online courses are group coaching courses. And Malik was a freshman when his mom enrolled in, for the same reasons as Ryan's mom enrolled. Like, just you understand the process so you can be better informed and you'll make better decisions along the way in high school. So that was Malik. And then Cosette was already a second year community college student. And her mom found us like this. She was on a webinar, and her daughter had been rejected from every college she applied to twice. First as a traditional age senior in high school, and second as a first year community college student. And once the mom hopped onto this call on this webinar, like a masterclass like you are right now, she heard me say, students aren't rejected, applications are. So she knew then that it wasn't her daughter, but it was just that she was doing something wrong. How could she tweak or fix what she was doing? Later, she was admitted not only to her dream college, which was UC Santa Barbara. She's from Maryland, so that was a big deal. She was also admitted to Berkeley and graduated just 2 years ago. So pretty fun, right? So you're welcome. I encourage you to book a call with us if you want some results like Malik and Ryan and Cosette. Here's question number 2. What do teachers say about you? Oh, this is my favorite thing to talk about on these 4 things. So what you probably know is that you're going to need teacher letters of recommendation, 1 or 2 of them. You may not know that you'll also need a counselor recommendation as well. So you're going to typically, for students who work with us, they tend to, again, top 100, top 50 Ivy level institutions are going to require 3 letters of recommendation, 2 from teachers and 1 from your counselor. Okay. All right, so you may know that. What you may not know is that the purpose of a teacher recommendation is to help identify, verify, and solidify you, meaning the applicant, as an intellectual academic person. You're going from one academic institution to another academic institution. So it's really important that teachers write about your academic qualities. That is the only way that a teacher recommendation is going to add value to your application. Okay. What do I mean by that? Well, most of my students, my VIP students, and our other campers will say, Dr. C, like, should I ask the teacher who likes me the most? And I say, no, that's not the purpose, right? I mean, typically the teacher likes you, who's also the teacher who you're doing really well academically in as well. Those tend to go hand in hand. However, I say no right away just to drive the point home that the point of the teacher is not to say how nice and sweet and kind you are. That is not the purpose, okay? The purpose is to make sure that this college, who's going to take a bet on you, can really verify and solidify my impression that you are ready for the challenges of college. Okay, so just keep that in mind. My little anecdote here is that when I worked at Marymount, after leaving Vassar and working at Marymount, there was a young woman who was applying early decision to an Ivy League institution. So she gathered up everything, and we decided who she would ask for her letters of rec. And the teacher, who was an Ivy League grad, was an AP teacher. That letter came, so he submitted his letter. That's who she asked, among others. And that letter got sent to us back in the mail. We opened it because we didn't know who it was from. And when we opened it, there was only like 4 sentences handwritten on the back of that piece of paper, that letter recommendation. And it was right then that I realized that just because a teacher has the right pedigree of institution of where they graduated from and or teaches an AP class doesn't mean that that teacher knows how to write a letter recommendation, nor should we assume that they know how to add value to the application. So from there, we started training our teachers on a number of things, including how to write letters. We trained them on the application process itself and how we actually vote. We did a whole series for our teachers at Marymount, so they were very informed. And that's what we teach in our courses. We teach our students how to go about asking their teacher and practically sort of reverse engineer what's going to come out in that letter. Okay, so it's super important. Here's Gianna. She's currently a junior at Princeton University. Bonus points if anyone knows who that is in the picture with her. Craig Robinson. If you can tell me who that is, bonus points for you. Gianna was part of our online group coaching courses. She started as a sophomore and then she became a VIP client. Why? Because she saw the writing on the wall that she really needed to engage in this process, really needed to get serious, because she had HYP and S on her brain since she was probably 8 years old. That's what the mother told me later, right? If you're wondering what HYP or S stands for, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford. So she had dreamt of that since she was very young. So you too might have a child who's dreaming of that. And if you don't, like, you're not alone. I certainly wasn't dreaming of that when I was her age, but some people are. And so that's how some of those students do find us. So there you have it. She followed the formula. She followed the teacher formula, and she got admitted to her dream school. Here are two of our current seniors in high school that just went through our programs. On the right, we have Ethan, and his sister went through our programs, and then he went through our programs. They were an elite camper. We call them campers. He was an elite client, and he was admitted to Duke in early decision. Mark here, when he gave me this photo, he's ASB president of his school, and Mark here will be graduating, but he was admitted to a number of places, and he's headed to USC. We're super proud of him. So he was a VIP client and started in the spring of his junior year. Teacher must do's. You want to choose teachers who know you well and can speak to your academic strengths. You want to provide teachers with some specific anecdotes and highlights about you. And you want to give a small gift of thanks. So don't forget to do that. Now, it doesn't have to be too much. I mean, honestly, it doesn't have to be anything major. But I have to tell you, this is my own little, I'll just tell you my own thing. Back in the day, I did not love coffee. I was not a coffee drinker. Now I am. And so students would always get me, Starbucks cards and a coffee bean or whatever, because it's easy. I get it, but I would always give them away. So hot tip, take a look around in their classroom or in their office, whoever you're thanking, and just pick up on a couple of things. If you went into my office back then, you would know that I loved college sweatshirts. I loved collecting collegiate bears, that say college, and I loved Wonder Woman. So there you go. Wonder Woman stickers would have been just fine. Okay. Question number 3. Question number 3 is, how do you spend your time outside of the classroom? So what you probably know, because people talk about it a lot, is, you got to get involved. You got to do this. You got to, do community service. You got to have passion project. Wrong. So those things are not wrong. They're just not the whole picture. So I'm going to walk you through what that means and looks like. So understand that not all activities are created equal, which is why I created this chart. And you're welcome to screenshot this. I'll walk you through very briefly and give you 1 or 2 examples. But this is the hierarchy chart. Now, level 1 is just like everybody's doing something, being in a club, a sport, community service, doing something. Level 2 is your selected or elected officers, team captains, class presidents, editors-in-chief, things like that. And then our coolness factor, what we call coolness factor or coolness project, you refer to as passion project. That is the thing that your child will do, whether or not someone paid them to do it or whether or not someone gave them a grade to do it, right? Okay, so for me, I just told you I love Wonder Woman. I collect Wonder Woman. They may love all things Bridgerton or baseball. They may be on a soccer team or a club volleyball team, traveling ball team. They may have a part-time job. They may speak, 3, 5, 6 languages. Okay. They might be a content creator for YouTube or Instagram. Okay. Those are all passion projects, not wrong and not bad. And when you hit level 3, you're about 10% of the applicant pool, those who applied to 4-year colleges. However, that's not going to hit the mark for colleges that are admitting under 15%, under 10%, under 5%. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that for us, when you work with us, it's almost like a non-negotiable. You've got to get to level 4 either as an insurance policy, even if you're applying to colleges that are mostly going to admit you, or if you're applying to top 50 and above. colleges. It's a great insurance policy. So I'll walk you through what that looks like. Here's a level 3, and both of these young women, that's Mira on my right, she's now at Berkeley, and Gemma on my left, she was admitted to Northeastern, and Elon, and we'll go to Elon. She's a senior now. Both of them dancers, both of them competitive dancers for years, tap dancer, and I think Gemma was a modern dancer, and then cheered also at their team. Perfectly fine passion project that they've been doing. Dance has been their world for years. A level 4, here's Sienna. For level 4, okay, first of all, she doesn't have level 2. You don't have to have all the levels. You just have, if you can skip to level 4, genius. So we connected her. We found her this project called Beads of Courage. She sewed bead bags for kids with cancer, right? So they would put their beads for the milestones they hit through their treatment. Simple. A passion project would have been Sienna saying, I'm going to sew 20 bags. Okay, 20 bags. Okay, that would have been taking her about 20, 25 hours. A level 4 project meets these 3 criteria. So write this down. It meets the criteria of solving a problem, 1. Number 2, for a community you love or are passionate about. And 3, for 80 hours or more. So when Sienna became a VIP client of ours, she was in the group coaching, and then she graduated to the VIP. And I said, okay, what do you want to do? What do you like to do? We put all the pieces together to come up with this project for her. And she said, I'm going to commit to 100 bead bags. That is an impact project that took her well over 100 hours, right? Or I'm sorry, well over 80 hours, and probably in the neighborhood of about 100 to 120 hours that it took her. Now, she did it over the course of time. She didn't try to do it in like 2 months, although it could be done if you wanted to. Okay. And then level 5 looks like this. So here's Alexis. She met all of the criteria. These are what we call our unicorns. Tend to be like, I've never seen a student being admitted to an Ivy League or Ivy level institution without having something in the neighborhood of, or something that looks like that is at the level of level 4 or level 5. And in this case, she's at Yale, so she has all the levels. So the bottom line is, for her Girl Scout Gold Award project, it double dipped, and she did created a 6-part immigration podcast series interviewing 6 immigration lawyers on how to navigate the process. Bada bing, bada boom. It served as her level 4, but also the amount of research that she did and the intellectual cachet that she had to bring to the table also double dipped all the way into level 5. Okay, here are your co-curricular must-dos. So you want to focus on activities that reflect your passion and impact and intellect. You want to use clear descriptors when actually putting them onto paper later down the road. And you don't want to overlook non-traditional activities. We actually really love non-traditional activities, things just like nobody else is doing, right? Those are really cool if you have them. So to give you, Sienna not only she had a sewing machine. Like, I didn't have to get her, she didn't go buy a sewing machine for this project. So she had a sewing machine because she likes to sew, she likes to crochet and knit. She did all those things. I don't do those things, but she had a sewing machine already. So, okay. Again, you can book a call if you are finding this interesting and something that you want to do for yourself and for your daughter or son. Okay, here is the next question, number 4. Love talking about number 4, which is the essays. What story are you telling about yourself? Okay, now you know that your child is going to need an essay. And if you're Gen X, holler. Can you type in amen if you're Gen X like me? Say me, so I don't feel alone. I know I'm feeling my age, you guys. I need my glasses all the time. It's just crazy. So if you're Gen X, you applied many years ago, and you needed one essay. So I rolled out of bed. I took the SAT one time, applied to 5 colleges, including 4 state schools on one application, and then my dream school, USC. I'd submitted 2 applications, and only one of them needed one essay. So you might be thinking, yes, of course I know we need essays. Like, we need a personal statement, right? Wrong. You need a personal statement, or I shouldn't say that's not wrong, but what you may not know is that you're going to meet many, many more. And these are the topics we are going to avoid. So I can tell you right now, I know I wrote about being the student body president when I was a kid. I think I dabbled in possibly writing about my parents' divorce or something like that. But these are the most common things: community service, athletics, people, and then life challenges: death, divorce, and devastation. So I think, I don't know, maybe Mr. Vargas gave me a hint to what to talk about. I think he did, actually. I think he did give me a hint at what to talk about, because I otherwise probably would have written about my parents' divorce. Okay, so these things are to be avoided at all costs. That's number one thing you should know. The other thing you should know is what I hinted at already, which is the number of essays your child is going to need. And it's going to range from 18 to 68 essays. So I'll walk you through that on the back end when I talk about what we do for our students. Okay. But here are some success stories. Again, these young ladies, Amelia from Houston, Texas, is on my right, and she true story. This is pinned on my Instagram. She tells the story. I didn't know this, but she had, before coming to essay camp, she had spent 6 weeks in. She had one-on-one tutoring. She would go 6 weeks in a row. I want to say 2 or 3 hours each time, like to write her essay. She said, I just basically got nothing done. There was no direction, no guidance. Like, it was just like, go write. And she got nothing accomplished. And in 5 days, she finished, I think she said 5 or 6 essays in 5 days with our camp. So bada bing, bada boom. Colgate was her first choice. She applied early decision. Amelia from Asheville, North Carolina, she found us, her dad found us actually in fall of senior year. And so she had all the right things. She had put together all the right things, but she just was freaked out about the essay. Which was not surprising. That's what most students are freaked out about. So bada bing, bada boom, she became a VIP client late in there. So I would just tell you it's much cheaper if you just do the essay camp to begin with. But nonetheless, she applied early action to USC, and she's now a freshman there. So they're both living their best lives. What can I say? Here are twins from New York. Sarah, their mother, found us when they were in their junior year and just thought, okay, I need some help. I've got these twin boys. They need to know what to do. So they joined our group coaching courses and then funneled right into becoming elite clients with some essay camp and some hours afterwards as well. Okay, these are your essay must-dos. I mean, start the essay. Start reading essays, just learning about the essays, just like drink all the Kool-Aid about the essays. You can't start the essays too soon because you'll need more than you can possibly imagine. Okay, so I'm going to just share that again. I think that's on the screen already. And now here are some more, success stories, but I'm going to switch over and switch my PowerPoint presentation to give you sort of what we do. I've told you what we do and what to do, and now I'm going to show you like sort of on the back end, like how we go about doing that with our students. Okay. So I just met Ava and Mary for the first time because they live in North Carolina. I'm sorry, Ava's from New York. I'd never met these gals, but now they're both in school in North Carolina. So, okay, let me stop here. Go ahead and type in your questions if you have questions already. And so that when I'm done, I can hop right over to them. Okay, so present, share screen, select window. Okay, here. Okay, so I often refer to this part as like the red, the yellow, the green. When we voted in admission in Vassar, when I was on the committee, and it was time to decide who was going to be admitted and not, I'm going to just share this quick story with you. I haven't shared it in a while. I'm not sure why, but my job was to read the file, right? I had California, Texas, Florida, my territory. My job was to read the file from all the students that I oversaw and take notes. So I would spend about 12 to 15 minutes on each application, and I would take notes, academic qualities, personal qualities, essays, everything. And then I would present that. It would take 60 seconds or less for me to present your application to the committee. And I would, of course, make all the highlighted based on my notes. I mean, I couldn't possibly remember your file from when I read it in January, and now it's mid-February. So I relied on my notes. So your application then leads to somebody's notes, which leads to what they say in committee. Got it? Okay. Then from what I said in committee, the committee would then ask me questions. And so they always, the first question was always, what are they taking senior year? They wanted to make sure that the applicant was still taking a rigorous course load. So that was always question number one. Then they asked other questions about the applicant, about what I had said. And so that was another 60 seconds or so. And then we would vote. Without words, we would vote, holding up a red, a yellow, or a green card. That's it. And majority won. So a red was deny. I don't have to say, but red was deny, a yellow was waitlist, and a green was admit. And then we moved on to the next applicant. I mean, that's it. So I know, harsh, right? That's one of my videos on YouTube. I know, crazy. Okay, so let's talk about this. So I already showed you this. And so this chart, and which is important. But I want you to really understand that the passion project is what most people are talking about, and that is not wrong, right? Because you're going to be in the top 10%. So plenty of students get admitted to top 100, top 300 colleges by just having that. But like I said, it's a little bit of an it's a little bit of an insurance policy, because for many students who do a passion project and start to think that they can apply to an Ivy level institution, schools that are admitting under 20%, still, like, the top 10% is still not going to may not get you in. It may get you a wait list, or basically, like, we regret to inform you, you still get a red card if you have that. So again, what we do different is really help students and coach them to level 4 or level 5, because that's where Ivy level decisions are made. And what nobody tells you is that going on, it's not about getting to level 4 or 5. It's not about being more gifted or more privileged. It's about changing the identity. Once you become confident that you are a level 4, it's really about, right? Like I said, Sienna, she could have done 20 bags, but she chose to do 100. The fact that she diligently did that and consistently, that's what James Clear in Atomic Habits calls forming great habits. And great habits lead to big results. So it's really about changing the identity of who you are. And those who see themselves as a good student, they may stay at level 3. But when your child really starts to believe that they're an Ivy level student at level 4 or 5, it really changes the mindset. It changes really everything. And that's really what we create in our courses and our group courses and our one-on-one programs. Being surrounded by other people who are just think bigger. They're smart. They're working smarter, not harder. They're being coached differently. And we train students to see themselves as elite colleges do, as leaders, as scholars, and as difference makers. That's the difference, right? Level 3 is good. It's good. But level 4 and 5, different. So let's be honest. I mean, what I saw on the road was that public and Catholic school students were just not hearing this kind of talk, and their peers aren't talking about level 4 and level 5. But at the elite private schools, that's what we talked about. Students who have parents who graduated from Ivy level institutions, that's what they talk about. So that's the quiet advantage that no one really talks about here. And so, like I said, I've never seen anyone admitted to a top 25 college without having that level 4 or 5. And again, it's just as much about what they're doing as much as who they believe they are. So if your student is thinking about, I want to go on to a top medical school, top law school, top MBA program, then you can't settle for just doing what everyone else is doing. It's really about becoming, having a better and bigger identity for yourself. And, the essay, the story has to be shaped really well. Okay. So that's what we do, I told you what we do, and that's just how we do it and how we sort of elevate your child to the next level. Okay. So when we talk about essays, let's talk about the essays, because Dr. C, you said we're going to need so many. Yes. So one of the biggest problems is that thinking that you just need one essay, or that, as I said, writing about the most common topics that everyone else is going to win the day. And it's not. Okay. So let me be clear about why. So the 3 Ds I mentioned before: the death, divorce, and devastation. That's safe, it's boring, and it's really, quite frankly, it's forgettable. So what we concentrate on instead is we concentrate on these core 4 signature essays that we talk about, and we use as to guide us through our 5-day boot camp. Okay. Why? Because we help students uncover a story that only they can tell, right? You want to be a party of one when it comes to your essay. Like, only if you read it and you go like, oh, 10,000 students could have written this essay about soccer. Like, then that's not the essay, right, to turn in. So really helping them. And I think about students who've gone through our programs. Some of the ones that stand out is like the Michael Jordan shoe collection. That kid was admitted, he's currently at Rice. the cheese essay we talk about a lot. That student was admitted to Boston College and UCLA. I think about the McDonald's essay. Also, we talk about that one a lot. And he was admitted to Georgetown, Northwestern, and Cornell. And then the microphone hog essay is actually one of my favorites. And she was, and that's, I think I mentioned her earlier, Jonna. She was admitted to Princeton and Cornell and to UPenn, among many, many others. So the truth is, like, getting into top colleges is not about being perfect. It's about being memorable. Okay. So I want you to think about the gold medals that are won by fractions of a second. Okay. Or the Kentucky Derby. I want to go one day. Won by like a nose. Okay. Top colleges, they're choosing 5 to 10 for every 100 applicants. Right. Does it mean that the other 90 are not as good? Does it mean that those 5 or 10 are like 10 times better than the other applicants? No. They're just better coached, better trained, and more prepared. That's what our essay camp delivers: a clear framework, a personal coach, and a proven system to help students write 4 standout essays in just 5 days and to repurpose them to use across dozens of applications. Okay. So I told you 18 to 68 essays. For every one college you apply to using the common application, each one is going to add 2 to 7 more essays. So do the math. Okay. So you might be thinking like, well, like my kid can't write that, or what if it, what if they can't do, or what if they, what if they still get rejected or whatnot? I'm telling you, even if you do half of what we're telling you and teaching you to do, your student is going to have 5x times chances of getting in than they would otherwise on their own, because that winning by a nose, or that fraction of a point, or a fraction of a second, like that's like, what is it going to cost to not try? Like what, how will you think about that a year from now if you don't have those opportunities? Okay. So, all right. Last thing I'll talk about is really this strategy gap. Okay. So when we talk about, I mentioned to you the school profile. I also briefly mentioned that your son or daughter is going to apply to college and compete against the pool or the cohort, their peers from their own high school. So everyone from my high school, I went to Bellflower High School, if anyone knows where that is, it's a public school. And everybody who applied to USC from my high school, I was competing against. I don't think there were too many, but that's who I was competing against. But everyone from your high school applying to XYZ college, that's who you're competing against. So the big mistake is applying to where everyone else in your peer group applies to. And it makes sense because everybody from your high school, they're talking about the same schools, everybody's doing the same thing. That's not necessarily the best strategy. Okay. So I say this because, like, you can have straight A's, right? And you can be well-rounded and all of that, but that's not a strategy. It's just the starting line. It just gets your foot in the door. So if you've been with me for a long time, you hear me talk about AQs and PQs. The AQs get your foot in the door. Like, that's just the starting line. But if you apply, then take that and go, oh, I have all the stats, all the numbers, and now I can stack up my list and I can apply, 8 Ivy League eight Ivy Leagues and like 2 safety colleges and just call it a day. Like, that's not a strategy. Like, that's just like a hope, and hope is not a strategy. It's not also not a plan. So what we do instead is we really take this serious about what data we're looking at. We're looking at data based on what colleges produce for us. So we're choosing or helping students choose a list of colleges with your head, not emotion and not ego. You'll choose a college with your heart at the end, but in the beginning, you have to look at the data. You have to look at what is going to drive, where is my child going to have the best leverage in getting and having the most success. So we use this data based on gender, based on geography, based on applying early action or early decision, in-state, out-of-state, all the things that we do so that to make sure that your list of colleges sets you up for success. Okay. So that's what we do differently with our programs and our coaches. Okay. So it's not just about getting admitted to a college, it's really about unlocking the better choices and elite opportunities that are going to basically help you have better chances of admission, which is the bottom line. Like, okay. So we do talk about this If you haven't watched my TED Talk, I talk about this. Students aren't rejected, applications are. But here's also the big truth. The big truth is that where you go to college determines your networks, the prestigious opportunities, the internships that you have, where you go on to graduate school, and increased value over time. I mean, let's be honest. The college is not just something somewhere you go. It's something that becomes the brand of who you are. And that's what matters for many, many people. I'm not saying it's the end all be all. I'm not saying that's even, necessarily, true for everybody. That's not necessarily what everybody values. But let's face it, when you hear someone who went to any school that is a name college, it doesn't have to be Ivy League, but our top 50 schools, almost everybody can name. So with getting admitted comes branding of you, which also comes all of these, right? So just think about when you see someone who drives a Mercedes or a Tesla or a BMW or a Lexus, right? What do you think? So that's what I wanted to share. And then the final piece is that, at the end of the day, your child deserves, we find that most high school students that find us, most families, your child has been working really hard. Like, can I get an amen? Like, up late, the AP, testing. Let's talk about AP testing, late hours, number of community service hours, things that they're involved in. They've been putting in the time, putting in the effort. And so I had a dad yesterday. I just loved what he said. He's like, my daughter's been working so hard, and I want to do her a solid. Like, I respect that, and she deserves basically to have my support for all the work she's put in. She deserves to have my support, on the back end. So I thought that was really sweet. So we offer a number of programs, but our signature, our basic program, as a starter, is our essay boot camp. And we have 5 opportunities to join with us in the summer. And I'll share that. But basically, we've been doing essay camp since 2003, you guys. Oh my God, it's more than 20 years. We were among the first organizations to start essay camp way back in the day. There weren't too many camps. And now I think you find them, but it's mostly private schools that put them on themselves for their students. And that's what we did, but then we opened it up to other people. So we've been doing it for a greater public since 2003. These are our dates for the summer. You can join any of the dates virtually. So it doesn't matter where you're from. We have students from all over the country. So you can join. We've been Zooming since before Zoom was a verb. You can join any of them virtually. But if you happen to be in the local area, we'd love to see you in person. We'll be providing lunch and snacks and all of that. It doesn't matter if you're actually secret. Like we supply that even if you're a virtual student too. Don't tell your kid. It's a surprise. So if you can join us live and in person, we would welcome that as well. Okay. So, okay. Don't say it's impossible. Say I am possible. Is it Audrey Hepburn, I think? No. Who is it? I think it is Audrey Hepburn. All right, my friends. Well, that brings me to the end. And now I want to answer any questions you have. So, you guys, it's a lovely day I'm in Manhattan Beach, and I've got my office studio has this big garage, window thing. So I opened it today. I don't always open it, letting the breeze in. Okay, let's get to your questions. Oh, I see. I love this group. Not mine. I'm not sure what that means. I love that. Okay, not mine. Let's go. Let's see. I'm a rising junior who's graduating in the year 27. These are my extracurriculars. Okay. Okay, great. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm worried about junior because I'm not sure. I'm president, and I'm started a small business that doesn't make much. Okay. I'm not sure if you have a question. I think you have a question. You're worried about junior year because I'm not sure what I can take to stand out because I got an IB. It's already very intense. Yeah. Okay. So let me just say that you do not have to cure cancer. Okay. You do not. So the ones that I just shared, I shared today, like Sienna, who did the bead bags. I mean, that's not a whole, it just took consistency. It took commitment, right? So for you, my biggest suggestion is that you have time on your hands. I mean, you have time on your side. I shouldn't say, but, yes. Are you doing IBs and that's intense and that takes a lot of time? Yes. But I say this with all love and good heart. Like, anyone who's applying to Ivy level institutions, those that are admitting under 15%, really probably under 10%, are busy. Like, we all have the same number of hours in the day. So I'm not suggesting, nor am I judging anything, but you have to find a way to maximize your minutes. So that's what I would say. So for Sienna, she found something that she could do at a leisurely rate because she was it was summer after her sophomore year that we made that we decided, we landed on like what her project was going to be, and then she proceeded to take the next 12 or 13, maybe as much as 14 months to do those beadbacks. Okay, so she went at a slow pace. For Alexis, who had, and Sienna never was thinking about Ivy League. Alexis she was that kind of kid who was like, I want to go to an Ivy League school since she was young. So she's a public school. And so from the get-go, she was a national dance champion also. So she was spending 15 hours a week or more dancing. That was just like that was her passion. Like, that was her level 3. That's just what she loved to do. So with very little extra time on her plate, we said, okay, how can we find a project for you that can double, triple, quadruple dip? Okay, so for Alexis, coming up with that project, that one project that I shared with you, the 6-part immigration series, served as her internship that she needed for something. It served as her community service hours that she needed for something else. It served as her Girl Scout Gold Award, which she needed to earn that award, and then helped her get to level 5. Okay, so just be strategic. You do not have to cure cancer, but you want to be strategic. Okay. And again, you're welcome to make an appointment to join our programs, because those are things that we do. Again, the favorite time is to sign up now if you're a sophomore. That's the best time to do it. Well, the best time is freshman year, honestly, but second best time, sophomore year. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know what your real name is, not mine, but there are I'd have to, again, I would schedule an appointment. That's the best thing I can tell you, because we can sort of maybe brainstorm a bit, but at the end of the day, you want to figure out how to maximize your minutes, because you're busy, you've got stuff, right? Sometimes some of our teenagers, I'm like, it's harder to get a meeting with you than the Pope. My God. All right, let's go on to Vanessa. Do you have any resources to start outlining a resume? Do schools required to have them? So Vanessa, this is a great question. So this is one of those things. So with our services, yes, we tell you. So our group coaching, so you want to think of our services this way. Our signature program is basically essay camp, and it comes with all of the accoutrements, all the extra things that you need to know, including how to build a resume and how to, teacher recommendation, all the things I talked about today that are components of the application. Those are the 4 questions. We teach all of that: the major, the list of colleges, the teacher recommendations, the essays, the resume, how to get to level 5, examples of level 4, 3, 4, and 5. And then of course, how to calculate your GPA, which is like some basic stuff. So just to share with you, most families across the country attend a public or a charter school. Like, there's almost 30,000 high schools. Very few of them are private, independent, and then another set are private and another set are religious high schools. Okay, but most are at public schools. So you don't have a lot of resources at your school. Typically, you don't have a lot of access to your school counselor. It's usually called a school counselor because they're not an expert in college counseling. So you just want to get enrolled. So the students I gave examples of today that enrolled as freshmen or sophomores, they wanted to just be at least a part of the group coaching, because what you have in your video library, the library resources with our programs, are all those things. I don't know about you, but when I was in public school, or when I would come to speak at public schools, they just start you in the process, at best case scenario, spring of junior year. Okay. Or if you have a good high school, it's like early of the spring, like January, February of junior year, they get you started. But it starts somewhere in spring, and that by that time, it's too late to do anything different. Okay. So here's something to tattoo into your brain. Those of you, especially those of you who are younger, you will graduate from high school with 8 semesters of grades, which you will apply to college with 6 semesters of GPA. Okay, so if you're at a school that is starting the process with you in spring of junior year, which no judgment, most of you are at those. Most Americans are at public schools that start doing this in spring of junior year. There is no way to go back and change the grades. I can't fix that for you. And you're already in your 6th of 6 semesters of GPA that you apply to college. So why do parents put their children into our programs in freshman or sophomore year? It's mostly just to get into the mindset and change your level of thinking so that you're in the room with other people who are thinking bigger, working smarter, and being well coached. Okay. All right, my friends, let's see what else. What else can I answer for you? I have a private client today afterwards, so I can maybe spend another 5 minutes with you, and then I try to visit my VIP. So I digress. Go ahead and type in. If you have a question, type it in. I'll answer it. But while I'm waiting here for a second, I try really hard to get to visit and meet my VIP clients in person. I started to do this, because we have students from all over the country. So, it was not always the thing that I would do. But this year I traveled to North Carolina. I was going to something else. So I got to meet my private clients that are in Asheville. And then on my way back, I stopped over in Ohio to visit a good friend of mine. But then I got to visit our twin VIP students who live in Indiana. So we met at a certain place. And then today I'm meeting with a private client I have one private client that lives here in Manhattan Beach. So I've met him in person. And this one lives in Los Angeles. So I'll travel. So I try when I can, and it makes sense. We have 3 VIPs from Tucson, Arizona. So I think I have to find a way there. And I'm headed to Houston the first week of June. So holler if you're there, if you're from there, maybe we can get together. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Okay. Well, this is an easy crowd. Okay, you guys, please type into the chat a number 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, how helpful was today's session? And or type in one thing you heard me say. What is one thing you heard me say today that you're like, okay, I need to do that. I need to get on it. Okay, what are you going to do in the next 24 hours? That's the real question. What will you do to change the trajectory of your chances? What will you do? Make an appointment? I would say make an appointment. That's the first thing I would do. Because there's no harm in doing that, right? Yes, I'm going to talk to you about our programs and our processes and see if it's the right fit. We don't invite everybody to join us, by the way. So just, we'll listen to see what your goals are and see if you're the right fit. And if so, I make you an offer to join our team, our family, our little familia. Okay. Anyway. All right. So, okay. I'm going to just give it another minute. I'd love to hear from you. What are you going to do? Those people who write it and type it and say, this is what I'm going to do, you're more likely to actually do what you say you're going to do. So there you go. Start brainstorming. Yeah, there you go. Good for you. So I'm not sure what your name is, not mine, or maybe it is not mine. It's not a passion project. That's level 3. Impact project or intellectual project. Just get that through your brain, because passion project is pretty much what everybody talks about. You're trying to be better than that. Impact, level 4. Intellect, level 5. Okay, get that through your brain. Yeah. Okay, let's see what Vanessa says. My daughter has been in the leadership program since freshman year. Giving 6 hours a week. Okay. Good. All right. So that's a good start, Vanessa. And probably with some tweaks, it could be a level 4. It's not quite yet. Okay. I know you didn't ask for my feedback and I just gave it to you. Sorry. But there you go. Okay. I would make an appointment. All right. I can't remember what you said, what grade your teenager is. I'm trying to go back here. First rodeo. Class of 27. Oh, Vanessa. You're the best. Yeah. Oh my God, yes. Do not pass go, make an appointment. Oh my God. Yeah, you have the luxury of time. We just signed another VIP 2027 last week. Yeah. Well, Friday, technically, officially on Monday. So we have more and more getting with the program. So yeah. Okay. All right, everyone. I gotta tally ho to walk Elvis, give my little Elvis a little walk, and then head out. So nice to see you all. And next week I'll be live on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, and Thursday, 4 p.m. So same times each Wednesday, same time each Thursday, just different topic. Okay. So next week, I think we're gonna move into essays specifically. We're gonna do sort of a master class on essays. So we'll stay tuned. All right, everyone. Good to see you. Remember, be committed, get admitted, and wherever you are, go make it a happy and sunny day. Bye for now.